Hey there, welcome to Consult Blind Guy. My name is Andrew. I'm here to help you grow your channel, build your brand, and educate you about the blind and visually impaired community. Today's episode is Leda, Day 16. What is Leda? Well, Leda is live every day in August. It's a challenge being hosted by the live streaming pros, and we are on day 16. And today's mission is to give 3 topics that we would give to our audience in our content. As most of you know that are already subscribers here, I already have like 10 different playlists on my content, but an example of those would be 10 common and crazy questions for the blind and visually impaired that we get asked by the sighted community. 10 common problems for the blind and visually impaired, simple tech for the blind and visually impaired, 10 common ways that we can make money, or 10 ways to get off of disability, questions for the sighted from the blind and visually impaired, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And if you're new here, thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this because today, as I said, we're just covering that quick little topic right there. And now we're open for Ask Me Anything. So if you have any questions or if you just want to chat for this hour, that's entirely fine with me. We have 1 hour to kill because it only took me a matter of a couple minutes to hurry up and go through all of that little spiel there. And you can ask anything you want, whether it's something personal for me, something I like, something I dislike, what apps I use, how I deal with things. Anything you want, you can ask, whatever. As I said, the challenge is for Leda, which is live every day in August, and I am doing just that 2 times a day. Once here on YouTube as well as on Facebook for the private group. And just so you are aware, we are multi-stream. We are on YouTube, Facebook page, as well as Twitter. On Thursdays, I will be doing a multi-stream to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I am going to alternate on Tuesday and Thursday between Twitch and Twitter. That way, all of you following me on the different platforms can get to me in either area on them days. On most occasions, I will be on Twitter more than Twitch, but I will actually switch them up periodically so they both get a fair little bit of use, because the past few days I've been doing Twitter more than anything. So I will be switching them up just a little bit, as well as linking these streams as well to our private groups for the community, which is the Hangout group and the Mastermind. In fact, if you're in my Mastermind, this is how I plan on doing our meeting. Because we have a group of 9 people, and I have a limit of 10 people I can have on my stream, I figured this would be a good platform for us to be able to have an unlimited meeting instead of using like the free version of Zoom, which only gives you about 45 minutes roughly before you'd have to close out the meeting and start back up. Whereas here, I can actually invite everybody in the mastermind into the stream, and then we can all chat amongst ourselves to have our meeting, and it will be recorded for future reference. So look forward to that mastermind crew because it's going to be fun. If you have not looked into the mastermind group yet, please check that out. I do have a post in there for you so we can schedule things out and figure what's going to be best for our community there. Whether we do a meeting once a week, once every other week, or maybe just once a month. That way I know when you might be available, how often you want to have these meetings, and so we can figure out the best time that will work for all of us. I know not necessarily everybody will be able to make them all the time. That's why I plan on doing them this way here with using StreamYard. So we do have that ability that if you miss, you will be able to see the meeting as a replay at the minimum. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat and I will be more than happy to answer them for you. In fact, I am going to, sorry about that extra noise, I'm grabbing my cell phone so I can actually see the stream instead of leaning forward on you. I should have had this opened already. I'm kind of slacking. I literally just got done streaming on the Leda Facebook group before I came here. So I should have had it ready already, but I'm like I said, I'm slacking a little bit. I'm trying to multitask on so many different things because I want to be able to get stuff done and be able to give you the content that you are here for. There we go. All right, let's see who we have with us in the chat today. Sean. Hey, brother Sean, thank you for joining me today. You're awesome, brother. I can't thank you enough for being so supportive. And I will be posting into the group so we can discuss what day you might want to come on this week as well, or maybe within the next couple weeks. I will entirely leave that up to you because I don't want to hinder your schedule for doctor's appointments or anything you got going on. So I'll be hitting you up in our group as well, brother, so I can figure out when you'd like to come on. If you're here with us live, please drop a comment down in the chat. Let us know you're here. Say hi to your friends in the community, or if you're new here, let us know if you're new. I'd love to welcome you personally to joining this stream because I appreciate each and every one of you viewers. I cannot thank everyone enough for helping support this channel and encouraging me to do these live streams and open up and be my authentic me over the last 2 weeks. And I owe a great deal of appreciation to each and every one of you for helping me get this far in the last 2 weeks. Hey, Sue, life coach, thank you for joining us today. It's greatly appreciated, sister. I hope that your internet gets fixed soon. I'm glad that you're safe. Thank you for reaching out and letting me know. I did let our Slack team know that you were good. That way nobody freaks out about where's Sue. Kim, thank you for joining today. Greatly appreciated. By chance, do either of you ladies have any questions you would like to ask me? As I said a moment ago, I did my challenge for Leda just before I came here, and all it was a quick, short one about what I had for topics that I already do here on my channel. So now that I've done that part, I haven't asked me anything for the next hour. So you can ask anything you want, personal, business related, content creation, anything. I'm open to it all. Hey, Leah, thank you for joining us today. Greatly appreciated, sister. I enjoyed your stream last night. That was absolutely amazing. I actually cannot wait to talk to everybody in the Blind Lounge about coming on and doing a panel at some point in the next couple weeks because yesterday we were just having too much fun in that chat with them conversations. I'm just saying. And anybody that's here and has not seen Ability Mom of Two Vlogs channel, she is also visually impaired and does content to help our community as well and gives her perspective on things, and also has collaborations with other creators like myself and Sean and others in the visually impaired community so we can help educate the sighted about being blind. And yesterday we were having some deep conversations, a little bit personal in some of them, but hey, that's what we're here for, right? Is get it out there so people actually understand what we're dealing with and who we are and how we perceive things, right? Um, yes, I love panels too, Sue. It has been amazing. I've been on a panel now, ooh, 4 times, and 3 of them were in the last 2 weeks. Yes, last night was very interesting for sure, Leah. That was some good old laughing right there for me. I'm telling you what. I don't know how many times I literally could have fallen out of my chair laughing yesterday. It was so hilarious. Um, I don't know if by chance if Lulu had a opportunity to ask the panel, but I did ask yesterday if you and Chris and Joanna, even Lulu, would like to actually come on my stream this month. I am going to post it into the Blind Lounge as well. That way Chris and Joanne and everybody else in the group can be able to give their input if they would like to, or if anybody in the group would like to. But I would love to have all of you on to do a panel because I know we're all friends already, and I think it would be another great stream. It will help get your channel a little bit more of a reach out as well, and hopefully we can educate the viewers a little bit more about our perspective on things that we deal with, whether it's about our white canes, the misconceptions and perceptions and stereotypes that we deal with in the community, or anything really. I love our community because we have an ability to each look at all of those things in a different light, and it can help out with the sighted to really get a perspective from multiple visually impaired and blind people so they can really understand that it is a spectrum when it comes down to our sight loss. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Which organization supports VU or visually impaired best? Oh, could you be a little bit more specific, Sue? What do you mean by organizations that support the visually impaired? Are you talking about like actual nonprofits that help us or companies? Uh, m- can you give just a little bit more context, please? Nonprofit. I would go with the Foundation Fighting Blindness. They are an absolutely amazing nonprofit. I also like the Retina Foundation of the Southwest, which is in Dallas, Texas. It's where I went for a clinical trial for my eye disease, and they actually do payments to the clinical trial participants for going through the hassle of traveling and going through the wonderful testing that we did. And um, they pay for the plane tickets for the participants to go down to get their eye test. They pay for the hotel rooms. They pay for the transportation around Dallas. Um, they pay all the cost for the medical testing for the eye tests in general. I actually had three separate eye doctors during my clinical trial at that facility, two of them in the same building, and then the third one was across town, and they all worked together to figure out what was going on with my eyesight so they can hopefully be able to help out the community in finding possible solutions for a cure or improvements that can be made to help us with glaucoma or cataracts, and to see ways that they can help us in general with hopefully improving our eyesight and preventing it from being continuously degrading. Another great nonprofit that I know of here in Michigan. I'm not sure if it's the same name in every state, but that would be the Association of the Blind and Visually Impaired. Um, they have been my biggest help ever since I was little. They provided me with multiple pairs of glasses as well as sunglasses. They provided me my cane, all of it for free. They have support groups that meet. They have O&M training, and they have products and services that they offer as well to the blind and visually impaired. Just to name a couple, those are my top three. I am sure there's a lot more out there, but I really can't think of all of them right off the bat. But those would be my top three: the Foundation Fighting Blindness, the Retina Foundation of the Southwest, and the Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. No, actually, I did not do a video on my clinical trial experience, but now that you mention it, I can actually do that because I participated in the clinical trial for 4 years before I dropped out for medical reasons. I would have stayed in it, but I did not want to risk my health to participate any further, so I ended up dropping out of the clinical trial probably like about 6 months into my fourth year of the clinical trial. And I really didn't want to, but like I said, I was having medical issues with it because of the medications I was taking from the trial. And that's why I ended up leaving it. But I will definitely do a video on that for the community because if I could go back now to participate in a clinical trial, I would definitely be there. Um, in fact, if the doctor ever gets approval, I will be one of the first people he contacts to do a separate clinical trial for medicating in the ways that it helps with my eyesight because currently, thanks to federal law, they do not allow that kind of a clinical trial yet. But he's been trying, and hopefully in the near future he might actually get approval because I've been medicating ever since I was a child, and I believe that's the main reason I still have my low vision that I have now. And if I wouldn't have been medicating, I'm afraid that I might have already lost all of my sight and been 100% blind by now, as they had predicted. because that was one thing I heard an awful lot of when I was younger is you'll be blind by the time you're 16. You'll be blind by the time you're 18. And when I say blind, I mean 100% lights out, can't see nothing. And thankfully, I will be 35 in literally 2 months from today. 2 months from today, I turn 35 and I still have low vision. And that has surpassed every single prediction that the eye doctors and regular physicians has given me throughout my entire life, since I was 5 years old and was diagnosed with my eye disease. I started wearing glasses at the age of 2 because of my vision impairment, and it took them 3 years before they finally determined that I had my family's hereditary eye disease. And ever since then, it was constantly, you're going to be blind by this age, you're going to be blind by this age, you're going to be blind by this age, you can't do these things because you're going to be blind by this age. And as I've said in previous couple streams, you can tell me I'm not going to be able to do something because I'm blind or visually impaired, and I'm going to do my damnedest to prove people wrong because I do not allow people to tell me no. I'm a stubborn asshole. Just throwing it out there. That's just been me. I never liked getting told by my family on both sides that I would never succeed in anything because of my vision impairment. So I have literally been an asshole to a lot of my family. Yes.
Sorry, I'm letting you know that we're going to go get a couple packs of smoke.
Okay, you could have just left. You know I am live streaming.
Sorry.
Well, you wouldn't want to be interrupted if you were in the middle of doing something. Sorry, everybody. Thank you, Sue. Sorry about the interruption. Now that I just lost my train of thought again. I hate when that happens. Where the hell was what? This is why I get irritated with people. This is why I'm an asshole half the time. Sorry, just putting it out there. That irritated the living hell right out of me. You know I'm doing something, and you know I'm doing it live, but let's go interrupt to tell me you're leaving. You could just say it through the wall without knocking and having to interrupt me just to tell me. I can hear. I'm I may be blind, I'm not deaf. I can hear through the wall. Just saying. Sorry to vent to all of you here in the live stream. That just like really irked me. You were talking about your family saying you wouldn't achieve. Yeah. Thank you, Kim. Yes. Ever since I was little, my family, a lot of my family, including that one, has told me a lot in my life that I would not succeed. I wouldn't be a firefighter. I wouldn't be a soldier. I couldn't be a paramedic. I would never drive. And it pissed me off very bad. And that's one reason I have an attitude problem with a lot of people is because of the way that they word things and they say things like that. And it's been my mission every time that they tell me that I can't to prove them wrong and show them that yes, I can. I managed to spend 2.5 years as a first responder for two separate fire departments. I went to enlist into the Marine Corps, and due to my eye disease, they told me I could not enlist, but because I would not give up, I went and begged and pleaded and begged and pleaded every day for months before they finally said, yes, we will make a contract for you to work with us through the manpower program and be a civilian Marine. And I spent 8 years in uniform. There are still people in my family, though I earned my Eagle Globe and Anchor, though I earned my rank, my ribbons, and awards from the Marine Corps, I still hear from some of them same relatives that would say I couldn't when I was younger that I'm not a Marine. And any veteran that knows me or has met me or has heard of what I have done has all stated that I am a Marine's Marine because I didn't do it for the money. I did it 8 years unpaid, no cost to our government. I even paid $1,000 to be able to keep my Marine Corps dress blues because they were that important to me. Not just to be able to wear them, but to keep them as my own. And that still pisses a lot of people in my family off because to them, you're not a Marine. You're just a blind guy that got to play dress up. And no, I'm not a blind guy that just got to play dress up. I was actually allowed to lead Marines. I was allowed to train Marines. I was in charge of all the administrative work for my commanding officer, or well, my staff non commissioned officer in charge, my SNCOIC. Gunnery Sergeant Olson was absolutely amazing. So was Sergeant Major. Without them, I would not have had that opportunity because they were the ones that allowed me to do that just so I could prove people wrong because I was that dedicated to the Marine Corps. And if I could right now, I would go back to that office and work for free. No problems. Now, there's some people that would say that that's just nuts, but really, is it? It gave me something to do. I was getting physically fit. I was learning stuff every single day. I got to interact with people every day. I got to go to different states for training and experience things that a lot of people, especially in the blind and visually impaired community, will never be able to do. I am one of 16 Marines in over 250 years to do what I've done. One of 16 Marines. That makes me the fewest of the few and the proud. Because if you go by Marine Corps sayings, the few and the proud refers to the men's side of the Marine Corps, and then you have the fewer and the proud, which is the women of the Marine Corps, and then you have me, the fewest of the few in the Marine Corps. I am very proud of the time that I spent in uniform, and I don't care who doesn't like it. I was also told I would never drive. I spent 8 years almost driving because I shouldn't have, but I did actually have my license for a total of 6 years, and I consider my couple years of driving with my uncle on the farmland as a little bit of driving experience because we would work in the field and I would occasionally drive the tractor down the road. Now, any other time, anybody else would look at it and it's like, yeah, you only had your driver's license for 6 years. It's 6 years. But I would consider it more like 8 years because I only got to do the farm life driving part during the summer and that was it throughout my childhood. So, you know, a few times each summer from the time I was like 10 up until 18. That's all the driving experience I had was a big old John Deere tractor out in the middle of a field and occasionally to another field just down the road a little ways. And that's one thing that I have always set out to do is to prove everybody wrong because I hate getting told no, you can't. When I know in our community, if you put your mind to it and you're willing to work towards it, you can actually do anything you want to. And that was one of my live streams the other day that I gave for a teaching moment is do not allow anybody to tell you you can't do anything. Because if I can go out and volunteer 2.5 years as a first responder for the fire department, that means you can too. If I can go out and get Marine Corps training, maybe you don't want to be in the Marines, but you can still succeed at whatever you put your mind to. You just have to have the faith in yourself to keep pushing forward. You have to have that self determination to keep going. Don't allow anybody else to tell you otherwise. And if you need somebody to encourage you and support you, you can always hit me up right here. Shoulder to cry on, vent to, anything. I know what it's like. I've been down that road. I still deal with it on a daily basis myself. So you can hit me up anytime. Yes, I am considered a veteran. To every veteran that I have ever met, as well as to Marine Corps, I am considered a veteran because of the time I have served in uniform and the training I have. That's why I was saying the other day, I am certified as a life saver as well as a life taker. I would much more prefer to be able to save a life than have to take a life. And that I think is one thing that my commanding officers actually liked was that I was all about being there to help others. That's always been something I've done throughout my entire life, ever since I was knee high to a grasshopper and started my traditional teachings for being in my native community to be a spiritual leader. Um, I've always been helpful. Even before I started receiving my traditional teachings from my native side of the family, I had always been somebody that would run to defend anybody, whether they were arguing or getting in a fight. And I was only like 5 years old, and I would go up and hit on people when they started fighting or started arguing. I've always been that way. I'm a helper. I like to help people. And that's why I started this channel is so I could share my experience and my knowledge on everything so I can help you here in our community, whether it's helping you cope with the struggles of our daily lives, whether it's helping you to create your content, whether it's being a shoulder to cry on or somebody to vent to, you name it. I can help with a lot of different things. I have a lot of different experiences that could be beneficial to everybody here in the community. And I'm more than willing to help anybody at any time. You just got to hit me up. And I'm on all social media. I don't have content on all of them just yet, but I am working on it. I am a solopreneur, so I'm doing everything on my own. Well, other than my new moderators, thank you, my wonderful friends Sean and Lauren, for helping me be my moderators so I don't have to worry about trolls all the time in the chat. That way, if you see anything, that you can flag them for me in case I'm not paying attention, like right now, because I'm looking at the camera. Uh, Thank you, Sue. You have so many great examples of fighting the good fight. One story per episode to teach, inspire others how to do what you do. Marines, first responder. Yes, I have actually been trying to do that the last couple days with these streams is to help inspire our community, share a little bit of my story so people know that we can do things. People might say we can't, but we can. It just takes a little bit of extra work. One of my things that I have always done ever since being in the Marine Corps is I follow our Marine Corps motto of improvise, adapt, and overcome. And what this means is if you come to a problem and you're in the visually impaired or in the disabled community, or even if you're sighted, it doesn't matter. You can use that motto: improvise, adapt, and overcome. And what this means is you improvise a solution to your problem, adapt it to that problem, and then overcome your problem. No matter what it is, you can figure out a way to work around what the problem is. If it's, um, for instance, like me, I wanted to be a firefighter. Well, I was low vision, so I couldn't be one of the firefighters to go in the building. I did get trained on going into the building, but when we would actually go on a call, I was the guy that was usually the first out of the back of the fire engine, and I was the one hooking the hose to the hydrant and turning on the water so we could put out fires. I was the one that took care of the equipment check every day. I made sure that everything on our truck was supposed to be in its place as well as everything functioned properly. Um, there's a multitude of ways that we in the visually impaired and disabled community can improvise solutions to whatever problem we might have. You just come up with that improvise, adapt it to your situation. Might take you a minute, but eventually you will overcome that problem. uh, does anybody else have any more questions? We've got about just over 15 minutes left in today's stream, and I want to make sure I provide as much value as possible. Oh, thank you, Sue. Greatly appreciated, sister. Um, know that the other day we did do kind of a little bit of overtime. um, we started chatting and having some good conversations, so my stream actually went for 2 hours compared to the normal hour. I have been doing my best to try and keep my streams down to close to an hour because when I first started out and I started using StreamYard, I would talk with Divided by Sight and we would collaborate. And well, when we start chatting, it turns into like a Zoom meeting that never ended because, we could just sit here and talk forever. And I think our longest stream was 4.5 hours. And I know there might be value in there, but I don't think anybody wants to listen to us chit chat back and forth for 4 hours. Um, what would you like to learn, Kim, about the spiritual teachings from our native culture? Because there are some things that I can't talk about because of the manner of what they are. There are some of our sacred teachings that are never shared with the public, but there are some teachings that I can actually share with you, like powwow etiquette or uh, general etiquette towards things, so the native community doesn't look at you as if you're being disrespectful or anything like that. Hey, Danny McKenna, how are you doing? Hope you're having a good day. How's the weather over there? Is it warming up yet? But yeah, Kim, what kind what kind would you like me to touch on? because there's just so many different spiritual teachings. Would you like me to um r- touch on the concept of all being related, um ways that we cleanse ourselves for gatherings, or what gatherings are, because there's just so much I could go to on it. Anything you would like to share? Okay. Um, the other day I actually had an episode where I pulled out my eagle staff, and my eagle staff is a more or less it's a nation's flag, and I carry the all nations staff. And I carry the all nations staff because I am a representative for all of Indian country, or all of Native America. I am a seventh generation Pontiac. So my grandfather is Chief Pontiac. I am the seventh generation grandson, and that is the royal family for our culture. And I carry the All Nations staff because I understand a lot of our history, because I am a history nut. I have to be, because of my culture. I have to be able to educate and know what's happened throughout the years. And it plays kind of into this whole situation we're having right now with Black Lives Matter and the protests and everything else. And that's why that staff exists, because everybody is represented by that staff. Does not matter what skin color you are, there is somebody that is represented on that Eagle staff. And they're all warriors that are from my own family, as well as around the country, that have fought the good fight to help make society better for all of us. And if you've seen that episode, you would notice that the flags that I have on it are inverted. So that means the American flag, the Canadian flag, the Mexican flag, and the Brazilian flag are all upside down. And that means that we are a nation in distress. As natives, we have always been a nation in distress because we still deal with genocide up to today. And that's why I had my video about how does everybody in the picture on that thumbnail coincide? What do they all have in common? And that is police brutality and injustice. Doesn't matter whether you're black, white, red, yellow, purple, blue, we all deal with a lot of the same issues. And that's why I say it's not a Black Lives Matter issue, it's an All Lives Matter issue. Because we need to quit fighting each other and actually fight the ones causing the problem. And who's the ones causing the problem? Politicians. Politicians who are going one sided and only care about themselves and not the people. The politicians who create laws that are discrimination against people of color or the disabled or in general. There are so many laws on the books from way back in the day that should have been abolished a long time ago, and or never been put into law to begin with. And that's why I carry that eagle staff, is because I am trying to educate people to where we can all coexist. There's no reason that we cannot have adult conversations and discussions and debates. We can agree to disagree. We're not children, we're not teenagers, and that's one thing I would really love to see happen, is people stop being so uh, absent-minded and actually think for a minute, rather than allowing politicians and mainstream media to manipulate everybody into constantly hating each other, like they are right now with this whole pandemic. Because, heaven forbid you sneeze or cough, and anybody out around you is going to give you that look of death, because now, oh, you're going to get COVID. No. And I'm not saying this to say that I'm against COVID or COVID's fake or anything like that, because I do not deny that we have a virus. My issue with this whole virus is them screwing with the numbers and not telling us the truth. Because here in Michigan, for instance, one day they sat here and said we had a 50,000 person spike in it, and then a couple hours later they came back and said, oh no, it was only 256. And then a couple hours later they came back on the news again and said, oh no, it's 1,000 and something. And then they did it again a few hours later. That there is bullshit. That's creating fear and chaos. Fear and chaos lead to panic. When people panic, that gives the government an excuse to go in and say, hey, we're taking your rights from you. We're going to dictate to you now. And that ain't cool. I actually swore an oath to defend our country and our constitutional rights. And our politicians right now are doing their damnedest to violate every single one of them. Whether you realize it or not, they're trying to prevent you from your free speech. They're trying to prevent you from your freedom of assembly. They're trying to prevent you from practicing your religion. They are doing their best to prevent you from using the press. How is it that they're trying to do this? Well, if you can't not speak your mind, how can you express yourself? If you cannot assemble, how can you legally protest? If you do not have the right to religion, how can you practice your faith and go to church if that's what you want to do? Whether you're a Christian or a Catholic, you should be able to go to church and not have to worry about, well, I'm going to get arrested because I went to a building. In, as far as the press, a lot of people don't realize it, but all of social media, the websites, all of it, that is classified as the press. It doesn't have to be newspapers and the radio and TV. Yeah, that plays into the press, but all of this right here, me being on YouTube, being on Facebook, being on Twitter, or whatever platform, that is still a part of the press. It's freedom of information. Doesn't matter where it comes from, it's still the press. Because this is social media, no different than mainstream media. As long as you're not out putting misinformation out there, you should be fine. Now, if you're out there lying and putting out misinformation on purpose, well, then yes, naturally you should be prevented from that. But it is also should still be allowed. Why do you ask this? Because even though they might be putting out misinformation, it is your responsibility, yours. I'm talking to everybody, not just here and alive, but everybody. It is your responsibility to think for yourself. Do not allow the government to think for you, because if history has shown us anything, the government does not have our best interest in mind. As I said, as a native, we still deal with genocide to this day. And that's why I have an issue with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, and it should be an All Lives Matter thing. Because we all deal with racism, we all deal with discrimination, we all deal with injustice. And when you really look at the numbers, seriously, I can prove this. You can research it to find out for yourself. But if you really look at the numbers, the one ethnicity in this country that's number one for being abused or killed by the police is still Native Americans. Why? Because when you look at it and they got this whole situation going on, they go by this right here, not by the blood that runs through your veins. They look at your skin color as a way to do this. They do not recognize whether or not you're a native and you're dark skinned or whether you're a native with light skin or whatever. But when it comes down to it, 90% of those that are killed by the police or beaten by the police in custody are Native American. That's the unfortunate part about genocide, the way that it's been committed over the last few generations, is they think by us getting mixed that we're going to just disappear because they do the blood quantum. And when they do blood quantum, it's the whole concept of breeding animals, for instance. Taking a pit bull and a long hair fox terrier or golden retriever and then mixing them animals together. That's quantum. And they try to make it so that, well, if you're a Native American to the federal government, they don't have to acknowledge you unless you're a full blood. That's how they're trying to deny us our treaty rights. Is, well, your ancestors were full blooded. That's who we made the agreement with, and because of the diminishing of your blood because of it mixing throughout the years, that they don't have to acknowledge us now that you're mixed, you're not a native, you're white or you're black or you're Mexican or whatever. And that's not the fact. In our culture, the way I was raised, if you are Native American, even by only one drop of blood, does not matter. You are a Native American. Doesn't matter what skin color you are, doesn't matter where you live, whether you're on a reservation, off a reservation. If you have any Native American blood, then you are a Native American. And that's one of the big issues with this whole thing, is that they don't count it that way. They just go by your appearance, and it's bull. The sooner that we can actually get these things discussed publicly as adults, the more likely we are to actually make a bigger change for everybody, not just here in the United States and Canada, but everybody. We got 7 billion people in the world, and we all deal with a lot of the same issues. And it's bullshit that we sit here and fight each other over these things when we should be coming together and fighting these things together against the ones that are causing it, that happen to be in office. Because it's them that continue to prolong progress, because they would much rather go after their own agendas. That's why we have the medicine wheel. As Native Americans, the medicine wheel represents the four directions. The medicine wheel is also white, red, yellow, and black. None of them in that medicine wheel is better than the other. They all represent each direction. They represent the nations of the people around the world. Whether you have white skin, black skin, red skin, yellow skin, doesn't matter. That's why it is equal parts all the way around that circle. That there is why I am the All Nations Warrior, because I don't care what color skin you have, I don't care what country you come from. I believe our constitutional rights should be human rights. They are human rights, in my opinion. No matter whether you're here in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Europe, China, I don't care. In my opinion, every human being has the right to free speech. Every human being has the right to defend themselves. Every human being has the right to practice their faith or religion, no matter what it may be. Even if you have none and you're an atheist and you don't believe in it, fine. That's on you, not on me. I don't have to agree with it, but I do have to have respect enough to allow you to be you. And that's my big issue. There's too many people who are too full into themselves about, well, you're not as good as me because of your skin tone or whatever. And I think if we would have more people in society actually have these discussions, people would come to a better understanding and society would improve for everybody, compared to us constantly hating each other over what color your hair is, or what color your skin tone is, or what country you come from, or what language you speak. That to me is a big issue. And I hope that I'm not offending any of you, but I'm sorry if I am, but we can agree to disagree on this situation. Don't mean to go on a rant. As I said, it's one of my passionate subjects that I'm well known for in my community is speaking up on this kind of issue because I've dealt with it my entire life from my own family. One side of my family has always hated that I'm white, and the other side of my family hates it that I'm native. So you tell me which one's better because I don't think neither one is. Nobody is. We're all human. We're all from the same earth. There's no reason that we cannot learn to coexist. Rant over. Exactly, Sean. Our elders are the key. Politics and media spread to fear control. Yes. Um, Another thing I can touch on real quick for you, Kim, when it comes down to our culture, is like the eagle feathers. A lot of people really don't understand why we have eagle feathers as natives, what they represent, how we're allowed to have them because non natives aren't allowed to have them. And what it is back in the old days and still today, we believe it is in our teachings that the eagle is the bird that flies the highest in the sky. He's one that soars closest to the creator. And that is our messenger to carry our prayers from here on the ground up to the creator to give those messages and to honor our spirits. And that's why we use eagle feathers, whether we're wearing them on our clothing or whether we're wearing them within our headdresses or our hair, is it gives us that direct connection to the eagle, and the eagle's m- medicine and that energy is what carries our thoughts and our prayers to the creator. And that's why we carry those with us and we hold them with the highest respect. um Maybe one of these days I will share some of our traditional stories and I'll do like a story time section of traditional stories because that might actually help you understand a little bit more about what I'm talking about when it comes to eagle feathers and our sacred medicines and our beliefs when it comes to some of these things. Now, not every nation is the exact same. We do have a lot of differences, but we also have a lot of very similar teachings. And that's another reason that I am known as the All Nations Warrior is because I have been studying from all the different nations, from the different elders to be able to pass on that knowledge to help our youth and help others in the community to learn them, understand them, and practice them. As I said, I've been doing a lot throughout my lifetime. Yes, I will definitely do that. So, I can do that in a live. I might actually do it in a video because then I can give you a little bit more of an effect to immerse you into that environment. And I think that might be a good idea. I will talk to a couple of my elders in a little bit tonight about possibly having them assist me and see if we can do something like that as well. Because I do have my Ravens Videos 1 channel, which uh, is what I'm using right now so I can monitor the chat, is my original oldest channel that I use is all about being native. I share all my collection of Native American music on there, plus my own native music that I've created myself, environmental issues, and things like that to help educate people in the community. And I do language lessons there and more. Um, I'm actually in the process of language lessons in the works right now with my elders that I'll be getting done here shortly. You can't. I have a Native American spirit guide that came to me in a dream once. Kim, that interests me, so I will be hitting you up within our community group to talk to you about that. That is one thing that I deal with in my community is helping with dream interpretations. Y- y- Like I said, I've been in training ever since I was 7 years old. That's when I received my traditional name, and that's when I started getting my teachings to be able to help as I got older to assist our community in teaching the youth underneath me these same teachings so they can get passed on for the next 7 generations like they were passed down to me. Hey, brother Aaron, thank you for stopping in, and I appreciate you being a part of Team Replay, brother. I can't thank you enough for the support, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys in the mastermind as well. Thank you for responding when your availability is. I can't thank you enough. Um, but we are at the top of the hour, so if you have any last quick minute questions, feel free to hurry up and pop them in. We are at our usual hour limit that I like to keep us at, but if you have a quick question you'd like me to answer, I would be more than happy to stay a few more minutes and do that for you. Oh, thank you, Sue, for coming and joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. I look forward to chatting with you more. And thank you again for all your support. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you so we can get the teams figured out. I'm actually looking pretty forward to that. I've been hopeful this past few days waiting for the internet to come on so we could chat about Microsoft Teams. Oh, by all means, Sean, brother, thank you as well. Like I said, I can't thank you all enough for the encouragement and support that you show me here. Because of these past 2 weeks, it has helped me open up and share a lot more because I was honestly afraid before this challenge that I would probably be one of the most hated people on the internet because of voicing my thoughts, my opinions, and knowledge. And it's not what I want to do, but I know that there's people out there who will not agree to the things I'm saying. Like I just mentioned before about the whole situation we've got going on lately within the last few months. You know, I know that there is a very sensitive subject for a lot of people, but like I said, I hope by talking on these subjects that we can create a discussion that we can help each other so we're not fighting each other, but we can learn to coexist with each other. Not seeing any more questions come in. So I would like to thank you all for joining me here on Consult a Blind Guy. If you are a new viewer, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit that bell so you can stay updated on the latest videos, live streams, and more. If you're interested, you can find us on Facebook in the Hangout group. Check out Facebook Hangout group there. It's open to the public. You only have to answer a quick couple questions about where you found us, how you found us, and whether or not you're a subscriber already, and whether or not you're willing to follow the rules. And the only rule is to be respectful of each other. That's all I ask. And we also have my channel on all the social media platforms. So if you're on one of them, feel free to follow me there as well. I will be posting content to all of them. It's taken me a little bit of time, but I am doing it. New platforms has taken me a little bit to learn, but I am doing it so I can help our community here as well. So it's easier for everybody to be able to do whatever platform they want to do. And I can't thank you all enough again for joining me. Oh, what popped up here? Respect you, brother, and to your subs together, we can make this world better. Yes, yes, Sean, we could. That is for sure. That is my ultimate goal, is to try making things better. And with that said, I want to thank you all again for joining me today. I greatly appreciate everyone. I can't thank you enough for the support and encouragement. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow afternoon, same time, same place, 2 p.m. Eastern. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, evening, or day, depending on where you are in the world. And I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks again, everybody. Bye.